Hi there, welcome to this week's Rounders Roundup. I'm Gaz from a Brit Does Baseball podcast. This week, it's me and Cal on the bump. Cal, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm getting a little bit sweaty and uncomfortable. The heat's picking up again, and I'm not loving it. How are you dealing with it?
I'm good. I went and played rugby tonight, and it just to sort of embraced it. I was like, I'm gonna be hot and bothered. I might as well do some activity whilst I do it.
Getting cheek to cheek and no wind and 30 degrees. Lovely.
Little bit of a breeze, luckily. Welcome to week 13 of the Rounders Roundup. We are fast approaching the halfway point, fast approaching the All-Star break. I'm happy. You know, the Cubs have kind of leveled out a little bit, just a little bit better. But yeah, I can't believe we're almost at the end of June. How have you found this season? It seems to have flown by for me.
Yeah, the season kind of was dragging its heels a little bit to start with. There wasn't much to talk about, and then all of a sudden, it feels like, especially this last week, there 1,001,000 things are happening. I mean, you said that the Cubs have gotten slightly better, and Pete Crow Armstrong hit for the cycle like a couple days ago. Like, we just skipped over it. That's how much has happened.
Yeah, it's because we almost lost that game to the Rockies, believe it or not. We had to walk them off.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the Cubs at the end. We'll talk about the Giants at the end, but I like to think we keep this podcast quite lighthearted, right? You know, any controversial stories we don't really touch on most of the time. But there's always time for a change and always room for improvement. We've got quite a serious story to begin with, and then we'll get into the more fun ones. This weekend just gone, it was Pride Night in San Francisco when was it? Yeah, I think it was like a week ago at this point. And it was San Francisco taking on the Cubs, and it was a Friday night game, and it was the annual Pride Night. What that means, obviously, the month of June is Pride Month around the world. It should be celebrated and should be recognised. And the San Francisco Giants, San Francisco being quite a prideful city, probably the capital of pride, I'd say, around the world. They wanted to commemorate that. So what they do is they have an annual Pride Night, and essentially the players wear like a San Francisco, they wear the normal cap, but instead of the San Francisco logo being orange and black, it's a rainbow. So it's a rainbow like SF symbol. The hats, by the way, looked really cool. I was a big fan of the hats outside of everything that happened. I think on the positional side of things, all the players wore the hats and there wasn't really any fuss, which there shouldn't be. Let's be honest. It's Pride Month. If you outside of what people may think, etc., on this podcast, you should, Pride Night's there. You should celebrate it, right? It's not for us. It's a bit of a non-negotiable one. And I'm not going to go into the whole politics of everything and all that stuff, but the seriousness of the story comes because some of the San Francisco pitchers, in fact, I think 4 of them, did a little something extra with the hats. So one of the relievers came in and just didn't wear the pride hat, which we've seen before with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Blake Trinan famously doesn't wear the pride hats. He just wears a regular cap. But then 3 of the pitchers, including the starter, Landon Rope, they wore the pride hat, but then put like a Bible verse on the brim of it. So it was in a white marker, so it was quite easy to see. Cal, what are your thoughts on this as a Giants fan?
It's pretty shitty. I don't particularly care what your personal beliefs are. This isn't about you. This is a way of extending the support to the parts of the fan base that are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, of which, like you said, is quite large in San Francisco. I can't remember all 3 pictures, but I know that fucking Ryan Walker was one of them. So that was another way to really fucking make yourself not very popular when you're already not performing very well. I don't think you want to be drawing attention to things like that. It's bad. I think the fines are probably the only acceptable punishment. I'd like it to be further. I'd like to see them banned for a game or 2. don't pay him for a week, whatever. But also, there's you're allowed free speech. I just don't like how they're doing it, really. My big thing is that I'd rather, I don't want it to happen, but I appreciate more somebody not wearing the hat altogether than defacing it. I think that is you going out of your way a little bit extra to, make this about you and to make this a talking point and things like that. Because worst comes to worse, you'd be like, I lost mine. I'm awful sorry. Next question. You can glaze over it. You can do whatever. I don't agree with it, but I'd rather the approach of not wearing it altogether than, defacing something that means a lot to a lot of people. I believe it's Mike Kruko. It's Mike Kruko or Dwayne Kuiper. One of the two kind of Giants commentators was on the radio show recently. He put it very well. Go and look at his interview and listen to what he says, because he talks about, the conversation he's having with his grandchildren around it all. And, explaining that a lot of the anger isn't coming from the gay community, though there is a lot of anger. It's coming from the Northern California community in general, because they're proud of their pride. They're proud of it. I think it's shitty. I don't particularly want people like that on my team. I don't feel comfortable cheering for them and supporting them. If they're going to go out of their way to, it's not spreading hatred necessarily, but just being dicks about it,
Yeah, and you see it in other sports, right? There's the whole rainbow armband in football, where some players, some countries refuse to wear it. And I agree on the sense of, if you're not gonna wear it, just wear the normal hat. The three players that got a fine, they all got fined $10,000, and they were the three that wrote the Bible verses on the hat. So the guy that didn't wear it didn't get fined, and has kind of snuck under the radar a little bit because of how, more outrageous it is to sort of wear the hat and then go out your way to, as you said, to be more difficult about it. I think for me, there's also an element of you're paid however many hundreds of thousands of dollars to play baseball, right? If your company gives you a uniform to wear, I don't know, I think you shouldn't be defacing it and going out your way to be more awkward. I as I said, I don't agree with the guy not wearing the rainbow hat. I can't remember who, I think it was Sam Henches. Like 6'10", big fucker. But he just didn't wear the pride hat, and that in a way is the lesser of two evils. But either way, I think it's a pride night. What? I don't know. We're going to get into the whole politics of it now, which we're not going to go into. But
it's the quickest way to tell everyone that you're a fucking wanker, really. The last bit on it was that Ryan Walker was asked for a comment on it either yesterday or the day before, and he said, honestly, I just want it to be over. No, dickhead. You went out of your way to make this about you. You don't get to decide when it's done. Fucking loser. Fuck off. Get off of my team. I don't want you here.
Yeah, and that, I guess, closing comment on that is, we don't, as I've said, I don't like to get too, it's not even political, but, there's a whole, like, sports being sports things, and I kind of get it, but, this isn't politics. This is just, people watching the game that you're showing their support for. And, I think for free players to purposely go out their way, it's not a great look.
If you're going to go out of your way to write it on the hat, then we get to talk about it, Yeah. Then we can make it about politics because you made it about politics.
Yeah. Anyway, should we move on to some happier stories?
Yeah, let's go for it. I've got one. Adolis Garcia out for the rest of the season with shoulder surgery.
He's playing quite well. Obviously, picked up the Rangers DFA'd him last year. Phillies picked him up in a free agency deal. I think it's a torn labrum. I've heard that the Phillies are looking for a new outfielder. I happen to know one who left the Phillies last year and is available. Nick Castellanos. He's not on the
Would be
Padres anymore.
Maybe they can negotiate. Okay, you can't have beers, but we'll do non-alcoholic. We can.
I think he got DFA'd by the Padres for hitting sub 200 and is playing negative defense, but it's better than no one. I don't know, Phillies fans, let us know.
There's not been enough tragedies for him to sustain his home runs. That's why things have been, awful, but not awful enough for Nick Castellanos to profit.
Yeah, no one's had to be cancelled recently, which means Nick Castellanos goes on a nice little home run spree.
Hell yeah.
Do you know who has been on a home run spree recently?
I can only think of Giants. Tell me the correct answer.
PCA, 4 in 5 games. He is looking like he got a 30-30 season last year. After this little spurt, he's now on 15 home runs. I think he's on about 14 stolen bases. We could be so back. And I spent the first 2 months of the year, he was in boo court for how bad he was offensively, right? And he's made a few defensive errors, and I think he got in his own head. But now he's batting leadoff. He looks like a different player, and he hit for the cycle the other day, which I believe is the first one in a little. So congratulations, PCA. I was wrong. You are not guilty of all charges, aside from you did tell that woman to suck your dick. So you are guilty of that one.
I wonder what his stats are post kind of shitty comment. Like maybe that unlocked something in him. Maybe he got something off his chest that just was weighing him down.
Maybe I think he just needed to let it go. One other sporting event that has happened recently, the World Cup has started. Football, proper football, soccer, all that stuff. And Scotland are in the World Cup for the first time in about 50,000 years. And
my lifetime, yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. The first, they did all the Scottish fans a big favour by putting the first game on at 2:00 in the morning.
Yes,
thank you very much. As Scotland played Haiti, Scotland won the game 1-0. But obviously, we need to link it to baseball. What I thought was really cool was they took over Fenway Park the day after. Right? They had like a whole parade in Boston.
Yes, there was a big march from one of the parks down to Fenway. And it looked electric, honestly. It looked like there was about 10,000 fans there. And it's still going on. It's not quite as big, but my best pal's there today. He was sending me some pictures earlier. I know that there's plans. I've seen the seating plan. They're going to Miami to play Brazil on Wednesday. And I know that the Marlins have given them like the whole of the outfield. It's going to be electric.
You're going to sell out Lone Depot Park for once.
For the first time ever, it's going to be at 50% capacity. It's going to be crazy.
What I love the most is that there's another version of it with the Dutch down in Dallas. They've kind of taken that over, and you sort of seen like I think Jameson Winston, the quarterback, who quite an electric character. He was parading with them all in like a full Dutch kit. It's just great. It's just great to see like fans of different sports get involved in the game of baseball, and in that case is American football. But I don't know, there's been a lot of negativity around the World Cup for, for correct reasons. But when it boils down to it and you keep the politics out of sport, people just want to go on a piss up and watch their team win.
Yeah, Matt, I've seen lots of fantastic videos from the World Cup of just people having a really lovely time I can only think of 2 shootings. Like, it's pretty good. It's better than I thought it was going to be. Everyone I've spoken to that's over in the States just now has just been talking about just how much fun they're having. And that's ideal. That's what we wanted. I thought that the Americans were going to make it a little bit more about themselves, to the point where we forget that it's also being hosted in Mexico and Canada. But it seems like everybody's getting along quite nicely at the moment.
Just a little fun fact. I said I played rugby earlier, and we did like a quiz question for 2 people to decide who starts with the ball. What is the capital of Mexico?
See, because immediately you think it's going to be Mexico City, but I don't think it is.
No, it is. It's Mexico City.
Oh, right.
Because it's so obvious, you sometimes think it's like something completely different. You think it's like an Australia situation where, what's the capital of Australia? You go, it's Sydney. You're like, no. Oh, Melbourne? And they're like, no, it's Canberra. And they're like, what the fuck's a Canberra?
Spooky place.
Speaking of spooky places, we seem to talk about this guy every other week. Jacob Mizorowski.
What a dog. What a dog.
One hit complete game shutout against the Philadelphia Phillies, striking out 15, including Kyle Schwarber with I think he touched 105 on the radar gun. Is that correct?
I think it's 104.5, so we round it up, yeah. But it's the fastest pitch of all time that's been measured in an MLB game.
When was this game? Because I feel like we spoke about it. We did speak about him last week because we spoke about him when we were talking about him, Sanchez, and Otani being like the NL Cy Young. So we have spoke about him a lot recently. He just keeps doing it.
He's just so good. I think that they should change. We should have alternate MLB logos. We've got the one guy hitting, well, a ball that's about to hit him in the face. And I think there should be an alternate one that's of the Miz pitching.
Yeah, he did a Maddox as well, which is where you do a complete game shutout under 100 balls, 100 pitches. I think he finished on 95.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's go on. Hit me with some other stories. Otherwise, we'll just talk about the Miz for the next 10 minutes.
I just had two Miz related questions for you because I've been thinking about it because I hate my job and my mind tends to wander. The customers hate it. I don't care. Do you think that the Miz is going to be, or is the most likely to throw the next perfect game?
No, and it's a tough one though. So he in this start, right? He didn't walk anyone. He didn't hit by pitch anyone. He just gave up a single to Kyle Schwarber, which is, Kyle Schwarber is one of the best hitters in the game. So it's nothing to worry about. I think I was listening to this on the Baseball Barbercast, which is Baseball Barber. I'm not barbecue, but Barbercast, right? And they were saying the difference between Mizorowski and someone like Yamamoto is Mizorowski has control but not command, or is it the other way around? Anyway, I think control is he's got command, not control. So command is you throw the pit. No, sorry, it's control, not command. I'm getting my words mixed up. It's late. I'm sorry.
One or the other.
Control. So if he wants to throw a strike, he'll throw a strike, but his strikes are like middle. But when you're throwing over 100 miles per hour on your fastball, doesn't really matter. You're probably still going to swing and miss. Someone like Yamamoto has got command, right? So if he wants to hit the strike zone, he'll go for the corners. There's a bit more placement with it. So I think the reason Mizorowski won't be the next one to throw a perfect game is because I just think there's still a little bit of looseness in that pitch somewhere. He has, as I said, he has just thrown a game under 100 pitches. He had one single given up, and immediately you raced off with a double play. So it's like, I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot, but no, I don't think he's the next person to throw a perfect game.
In which case, do you think that Paul Skeens is more likely?
I would say so. Yeah. Oh, well, no, I don't think Paul Skeens is either. I would go for someone like a Yamamoto because I think Paul Skeens isn't given that runway anymore. And he started off with a bang. The league caught up to him a little bit. He then went to that next level, and I think the league's starting to. You can work some counts against Paul Skeens. Like I've seen the Cubs do it 3 or 4 times now because they see him so much, and he's either got it and it, or if you get a 10-pitch at bat against him and just wear him down, you can get him out by like the 5th inning, and he'll give up a few walks. So I think it's someone like a Yamamoto will be more, or a Christopher Sanchez, realistically.
Interesting. I bring Skeens up because I feel like last season we spoke about Skeens a lot. And at the start of this season, we're bringing him up. We're excited about the new season. And we're like, well, he's one of the stars of the league. And I just feel like it's been a bit quiet from over there. So I had a look at his kind of stat line quickly. He is 6 wins, 6 losses. He's got a 2.85 ERA, 82 innings pitched, and 99 strikeouts, which feels the good end of all right, I guess. Like, it's 2.85 is fantastic, but considering who Paul Skeens is like supposed to be, it kind of feels a bit like, I don't know, middle of the road for his very high standards.
Yeah, I think if he has a bad season, he has a 3.5 ERA, right, or an above 3 ERA. So I think you're right there. You can take the win-loss record out of it because with the Pirates, it's never going to matter. The fact he is 500 is a great sign. But yeah, I mean, he kind of hasn't really pitched as long as you think. He's not very efficient with the pitch counts at times, and yeah, I'm surprised. I would have thought it's a little bit lower than 2.85. I'm a little bit surprised to hear that, but I've not heard much about him. It's like unless he's doing well, you won't. Otani can hit a single, and they'll be like, "Oh, Otani hits a single whilst also pitching and teaching his dog a new trick." Meanwhile, Paul Skeens throws 6 innings, gives up 2 runs. It's just kind of swept under the rug, right? So,
On Otani quickly, I read that today that he pitched with something wrong with his left leg and then a blister on his right hand. Just proven to that one Cubs pitcher that he really is the little bitch that we thought he was about that whole situation there.
what Edward Cabrera?
Yeah.
He got taken out of the game. I'll go into it later.
Otani pitched the game and hit as well with the same thing.
Do you know who absolutely can hit?
Me, nah. Who?
Well, you could if you played in Las Vegas.
Probably. I reckon I could get a fuck it home run in Las Vegas.
Well, a lot of teams did. So it's been very, very publicized now that I keep saying Las Vegas, Sacramento, the Oakland Athletics, are in the midst of a 3-year hiatus before they get their new stadium built in Las Vegas. But they decided they wanted to treat everyone in Vegas, if they weren't gambling or catching a show at the Sphere, to a little bit of baseball. So they had 4 games at the home park of their AAA affiliate, the Las Vegas Aviators. Now, the good thing about Aviators, right, is that it's all about aeroplanes, right, and the ball flying and planes flying. Well, before I get onto the really absurd scoreline, the Brewers Athletics finished the game. It went 12 innings. It finished 15-14 to the Milwaukee Brewers. Let me just give you some stat lines here. So there was 4 home runs for the Brewers and 7 for the A's.
Jesus Christ.
Including 2 for Nick Kurtz. There was 1 for Jonah Heim, which looked like it was a flyout in any other stadium other than Las Vegas. Christian Yelich had 7 at-bats. What else have we got here? Yeah, Shea Langoliers, 7 at-bats. Let's just look at the pitching. So Carl Harrison pitched that game, and you know how he's been very, very good for the Brewers.
Yeah.
Well, he gave up 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings. Jeffrey Springs, a little bit better. He only gave up 5 runs in 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Yeah, just a lot of hits, lot of power. Obviously, it made Coors Light seem like Coors Light as opposed to like Coors Heavy. It was wild. I remember watching this going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Kyle Harrison's ERA almost like doubled that game.
2.72 after that game.
It was like 1.81 beforehand. It was crazy.
Yeah, he gave up 3 home runs in 2 1/3 innings, which is impressive. He still struck out 4.
It just goes to show that like baseball field dimensions being fucking whatever you want is maybe there needs to be slightly more regulation involved in the future. Yeah, especially in altitude. We need to bring back, what was that one in was it the Polo Grounds in New York where center field was like 6 million yards away? Maybe we need to bring that back for Las Vegas, maybe.
Now they've got the short porch. The key difference is they are building their stadium under a dome because all good stuff needs to be indoors now, it seems. So
it's a desert. It gets real hot out there. It's probably a good thing, actually, for them. Get some AC going, and they'll be all right.
Yeah, but could you imagine the AAA affiliate still? Could you imagine AAA affiliate still playing in the sun, and then they look over the road, there's a nice shiny dome. It's like, well, we could play there when the first team are away.
Yeah, they'd have to. They'd have to let them play there.
Anyway, before we move off, so that I said they played two game series. That was the Brewers. They then played the Colorado Rockies. Now, the Colorado Rockies set a record for runs scored in a game as they beat the A's 23 runs to 9 in a game that only went 9 innings. Willie Castro, who was on the Cubs last year and looked terrible, got 7 RBIs, including a grand slam. There were 6 home runs scored for the Rockies compared to just 2 this time for the A's. And Tomoyuki Sugano, despite giving up 6 earned runs in 5 innings, actually got the win. What happened? I mean, oh my God. So Jeffrey Springs gave up 6 earned runs in 4 innings for the A's. Medina, who is a reliever, gave up 6 earned runs in 1 inning. He was then followed by Basso, who gave up 4 earned runs in an inning and 2/3. And then Scott Barlow, who I believe is a pitcher. He is a pitcher. I thought it was like a position player at the end. Oh no, they stuck another pitcher in. He gave up 4 earned runs to the Rockies. So the fact that Tomoyuki Sugano finished with 6 earned runs in 5 innings and got the win is absolutely absurd.
Man, who are the Rockies? Because at least twice a week we're like, oh my God, the Rockies have just scored 1 million runs and then lost 6 other games.
They are a confusing team. The Cubs have just finished playing them, and they are, I don't know if it's more the Cubs just being up and down, but they are a very, just don't do anything for, like, give up 7 runs in 1 inning and then can almost come back and win the game. They're a very fun team in that regard.
We'll give them interesting. That's the polite media way of being like, what the fuck are you doing? They're an interesting team.
Yeah, they're not as bad as I thought they'd be. That's all I've got for my news stories. Have you got anything, Cal, or are we going into our own teams?
Let's talk about the Giants quickly.
Go on.
So, this last month, highest batting average in Major League Baseball as a team. What team do you think it is?
It's obviously the San Francisco Giants.
Milwaukee Brewers. No, yeah, it's the San Francisco Giants. Of the last month, who also has the worst record in Major League Baseball?
The Chicago Cubs.
No, it's the San Francisco Giants. I don't understand how this team can simultaneously be fantastic and terrible at the same time. The front office has quite publicly said this last week that essentially everyone that isn't named Logan Webb, Jung Hoo Lee, and Casey Schmidt, you can have them. They've said that
you're telling me I can get Ryan Walker
if you want, and you tie him up in the garden and throw fruit at him. So they've said the big 3, Matt Chapman, Rafael Devers, and Willie Adames, are all available for trade discussions, as well as Luis Arias and Robbie Ray, which were slightly more obvious. I think Robbie Ray's deal expires at the end of this year. Luis Arias is on a very affordable 2-year deal with the option of no baseball for next year happening. He's playing very well. Those guys would, I've said my goodbyes already. The interesting thing about those 3 is that Chapman and Adames have no trade clauses. So they could refuse, essentially. The Brewers could come in and be like, we want Willie back. And Willie could be like, no, fuck you guys, I want to stay in San Francisco, which usually, for the British audience, if a player doesn't have a no trade clause, then usually they don't get a say. They're sent somewhere else. Whereas when you're getting transferred in the Premier League or whatever, the player gets some say in it. They have to agree to personal terms. Yep. The other team just takes on that contract. So it's quite important for players to have the no trade clause there. I was talking to Dylan about it a little bit, and I think Chapman would be the only one to kind of drag his feet a little bit, and be a little bit, no, I want to stay in the Bay Area. I'm not going.
You think Devers would go?
I think Devers would go in a fucking heartbeat. What do you mean? I think if New York were like, you're coming here, he'd be like, all right.
Okay, I'm a bit surprised by that. I just thought with all the hullabaloo after his trade, I would have thought it was a bit more loyalty, but what do I know?
The thing is that in New York, he can play third base, which is his preferred position. They have the short port over in right field. It suits him. He also gets to play against the Red Sox all the time. But importantly, I think he leads the league in doubles. And that wouldn't be the case if he didn't get oracled all the time. The Giants have been really good on the road this year, but that's because they're not getting fucked over by their own ballpark being 70,000 meters wide and high, and then the wind blowing in at you at 3,000 miles an hour.
Would you like to see them move those dimensions?
I think that as cool as Triples Alley is, I think that it would be fine if they kind of brought some more seats in there or something. It's cool because there's a lot of fun moments that you get out of Triples Alley, but just given, I mean, it gives the other team an advantage as well. There's a lot of other teams that come to Giant Stadium and hit into Triples Alley more so than the Giants probably do, but we need to do something. It's the best stadium in the world as far as lots of people, including myself, are concerned. It'd be so much better if the Giants won in it frequently. Bryce Eldridge is fantastic. He was the youngest player ever to hit a walk-off grand slam. And the Giants came back from losing 9-1 to the Nationals the other day. And then it was like 2 days later, they said, yeah, everyone's available for trading. Yesterday, the Giants went back-to-back, hitting left-handed home runs for the first time since 2004, which is a pretty wild stat, I think. Barry Bonds and AJ Przinsky, I think it said on the broadcast.
Was that Barry Bonds and Barry Bonds?
It's just him and then himself again. He was doing that many drugs that he fucking cloned himself. I don't know what's happening, really. The team looks good. They play pretty good baseball, and then they just lose all the time. It's very confusing. I don't know. I think that I'm glad that it appears that the team is choosing to sell, because the worst thing is to do nothing. Go watch Dylan's videos on his Instagram. They're fantastic. It's very clear that they won't be buying because, there's still a chance we make the wild card if we pick up a lot of form. But I doubt we're going to be buying to win. We should sell. The worst thing to do is nothing. So I think if we can move some of the big players, it's a shame, but I think it's what the team probably needs.
Yeah, we're having, the Cubs and Giants played each other twice in less than a week, and I think what I saw was a lot of fight from the Giants team. There are some good players there. Like Robbie Ray dominated us. Logan Webb fucking bitch slapped us around Oracle Park. Looks like he's back after his injury. You got, Bryce Eldridge hitting close to 300 at the time. Young Hoo Lee obviously was on that mad hitting streak. I was scared when I was, Casey Schmidt stats are pretty decent. Drew Gilbert is there. It just
shit, to be fair.
it looked like a scary lineup, especially after you guys dismantled us at Wrigley in 2 out of 3 games. But I think on the rotation outside of Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, there just is a soft underbelly there. No Landon Rope, Trevor McDonald. Old McDonald had a farm and Trevor was giving up home runs on it. I don't know. That rotation is just missing a few pieces, and the lineup should be better than it is. I don't know what's gone wrong there, other than Ron Washington is the infield whisperer, as far as I'm concerned.
What a fucking acquisition. What he's done to Luis Arias should make him signing of the year. Not Arias. Fucking wash.
Do you reckon if they trade Arias, Washington is included in the deal?
No, I think the Giants are clinging on to him with everything they absolutely can at the moment. Please don't leave us.
I'll quickly cover the Cubs because the Cubs haven't been as interesting as the Giants because they're kind of a lot more, news stories about them. The Cubs have been very up and down. We currently in a rut where we won 5 of our last 7 games. We obviously at one point we were 29-12, so we were 17 games over 500. We're now 3 games over 500. Flirted very closely with almost being below 500, but we pulled a few series wins. We beat the Giants this weekend, just gone, for our first series win in a month, which is impressive considering they play every fucking day. The hitters, I mean, PCA aside, and probably Michael Bush, the hitters just don't want to hit. Like Nico Horner got the bag and he's just hit like sub 200 since. Dansby Swanson is still hitting below his body weight. And let me tell you, he's not a big boy. Suzuki's back in form a little bit. Happ has been solid. It's just too many on the hitting side. It's just too, they could be really, really good and then they can just do absolutely nothing. Our kryptonite runners in scoring positions. If anyone's at first or it's a home run, we're there. But as soon as someone gets to second, we just all switch off, especially Alex Bregman. The pitching side, however, has been... It's just injuries all the time. Like we can't seem to go a week without a pitcher getting injured. Daniel Palencia, our all-star closer, all-star caliber closer, hit the IL with elbow problems. I don't think it's too serious, but obviously you hear pitcher and elbow in the same sentence. It's like, well, that's him gone for a year and a half. Edward Cabrera had just come back and made a really, really good start against the Giants, I believe, and then immediately hit the injured list again after. Came out the game against the Rockies after cruising for 3 innings. He's come out, but hopefully it's not too serious. One shining light though, my favorite player on the Cubs, Javier Assad. Cal's nightmare, because Assad came back up. He had to go into long relief because of the injury suffered to Jameson Tyone in the Giants. Oh, he got injured as well, but that's just cut our home runs allowed in half. Tyone gets injured against the Giants. In comes Javier Assad, 6 1/3, scoreless baseball. What does he go and do? He starts the next game and he goes 6 scoreless against the Giants. They got the arse man twice in a row. Comes in against the Rockies, gives up 2 home runs to the rookie on their side. Got his first and second home runs in the same game. 2 consecutive at-bats, but goes 5 2/3, 2 runs. That's 2 runs allowed in like 18 innings. The arse man is anchoring this rotation alongside Ben Brown and Shota Managa. But yeah, it's been a bit of a shit time to be a Cubs fan. And I know Cal's going to say, "Oh, but you're not 15 games under 500." Blah, 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 blah. It's different when you've been gone from being so good to being so below average. Like if you extrapolate our month, we're the worst team in baseball.
Almost.
I think we have a worse record than you in like if you took like the last 30 days. I think we have a worse record.
Really, that's interesting.
Yeah, we're like I said,
that's shit.
We were like I said, we were 29-12 at one point. So that's after 37 games. Let me just look at the Cubs record now.
Just while you're doing that, you mentioned you hear pitcher and elbow in the same sentence, and it usually means bad things. Tarek Skubal pitching as we're recording tomorrow. He's back on Friday against the White Sox, and I might watch it.
Yeah, that would be a good game. I like the White Sox as well.
They're exciting at the moment, but Tarek Skubal is exciting for complete opposite reasons.
So we'll finish on a really high point, and that's the Cubs record after the first. So we were 29-12 at one point. We're now 39-36, which by my maths means that we've got 10 more wins and 24 losses. So we are 10-24 in our last 34.
Okay, yeah, that's not good.
Maybe it was 29-17. I don't really know, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, should we call it there?
Let's call it there. It could be worse. We could be Royals fans. So,
Cal's been Cal, Gaz has been Gaz.
Ryan Walker's a prick.
Yeah, fair enough. As you know, you may not always agree with what we say on this podcast, but sometimes we do have to hit the hard-hitting stories, and I think this is the first one. So, if you don't agree with us, that's fine. Keep it to yourself. Have a good one. Bye.
On your hat.